Good evening and welcome to Crimewatch Midlands, a live programme giving you the chance to help solve and prevent crime. As usual, our team of detectives is with us in the studio, so if you can help with any of the cases we'll be featuring tonight, ring us on 021 432 5432. That's 021 432 5432.
And that number will put you straight through to us here in the studio. And of course, all your calls will be treated in strict confidence. If you'd rather not talk to a police officer, one of our own BBC researchers will be on hand as well.
We're also joined by our regular police presenters, Superintendent John Kavanagh from Leicestershire Constabulary and WPC Sue Milner from West Mercia, who'll be appealing direct to you for information.
First of all, though, tonight, a really important development from one of our earlier programmes. You may recall in February we featured the theft of 20 leather jackets worth over £10,000, which were stolen from an exclusive shop at Navigation Street in Birmingham. Well, West Midlands Police tell us they have a very positive line of inquiry as a direct result of information from Crimewatch Midlands viewers. And there are important new lines of inquiry in other cases we've shown you. Let's see if we can do just as well again this evening.
These then are the cases in which we'll be asking for your help tonight. From Nottingham, a vicious attack on a taxi driver knifed 8 times and robbed of £15.
A £15,000 robbery in Birmingham. There's a big reward for information leading to convictions. And a year after Sarah Harper's body was found in the Trent near Nottingham, detectives say they know there are still witnesses who have yet to come forward.
But we begin with that particularly brutal attack on a Nottingham taxi driver. It happened near the city centre one Saturday night towards the end of February.
Just before midnight, taxi number 98 waits at the head of the Milton Street rank outside the Victoria Centre. At the wheel, waiting for his next fare, is Mohammed Aslam.
Taxi, you available?
Yep. Where to?
Connaught Gardens, please.
Okay, get in.
Perhaps unusually, the second man walked round the car to sit behind Mr. Aslam. Their journey took them along Upper Parliament Street and up the Derby Road. There was nothing out of the ordinary in either their behaviour or their conversation.
Where are you lads from?
I'm from Brixton. I'm from Manchester.
As they were nearing their destination, suddenly the man in the front seat told Mr. Aslam to change course.
Turn left at the bank and second right.
Yeah, okay.
That took them into Argyle Street. Finally, Mr. Aslam was told to pull up in a lay-by.
You bastard!
Leave me alone!
You bastard!
Leave me alone!
Bastard.
Get off! What do you want? Get off! Ah! Hey, don't kill me! Don't kill me! Take my money! Take my money! Don't kill me! Don't kill me!
The police believe a number of witnesses have yet to come forward. It was half an hour before the taxi was found. By then, Mr. Aslam's attackers had disappeared.
Well, Detective Sergeant Gary Brothwell is on this inquiry. First of all, the time there, midnight or thereabouts, when the car was actually left in that position by this estate. Now, you wouldn't expect a lot of people to be around at that time, but in fact, you believe differently.
Yes, it was midnight on a Saturday, and our inquiries indicate that there was quite a lot of activity on the walkways of the flats and in the area at the time.
Let's just identify precisely where the estate is, where these flats are.
Well, the incident occurred on Argyle Street, which is in the Radford Court Flats complex. It's flanked on both sides by Connaught Gardens flats and Argyle Court flats. Most of the flats in these complexes will have overlooked the scene.
So they can look right down onto the lay-by where this was going on. Now, as we saw in the reconstruction, it was a fairly vigorous attack. There was a lot of noise, so people must have been drawn to it, and there could be no doubt that something was going on there.
That's correct. The indications are from the signs in the vehicle that there was a violent struggle, and there would have been a lot of banging and shouting and screaming from Mr. Aslam, and this would have attracted the attention of people on the walkways and in the flats.
Now, we know what happened to Mr. Aslam. He is recovering, but he went off and was eventually found further on down the road and away from the area. But the two chaps, the attackers, those are the ones that you're interested in. We don't need any information about Mr. Aslam, but the two attackers we do.
That's right. First, we want to know who they are, and if we can't find out immediately who they are, then we would like to know which direction they did travel. And somebody in that flats complex would have seen that incident or been on the scene very early after it occurred and will have seen something, and it's those people we want to contact us.
Now, the two actors that were chosen for that reconstruction are fairly close in appearance to the description that was given by Mr. Aslam of his attackers, but you have a further description as well.
Yes, our inquiries indicate that possibly one of the attackers had a shaven parting on one side of his head. This is a style used by some of the West Indian youth, and it's very noticeable. It's about a quarter of an inch shave parting and is very visible.
So fairly distinctive there. It was a particularly vicious attack. It could easily have been a murder inquiry that we're talking about here. Luckily, it isn't. But thank you very much, Mr. Brothwell. If you believe that you can help with this or any of tonight's cases, then this is our number. 021 for Birmingham, 432 5432. And the number for detectives in Nottingham investigating this case, 0602, that's the code for Nottingham, 482 999. That's Nottingham, 482 999.
Now watch this next reconstruction closely, because if you know something about this case, you could be in line for a big reward. It's a £15,000 robbery in Birmingham where detectives are hunting a gang of 3 men. It was early afternoon on Tuesday the 24th of February at Five Ways, Birmingham. Securicor guards were collecting a 5th and final bag from the Abbey National Building Society. They made their way back towards their van, which was parked round the corner in Islington Row. A gold Granada had pulled up and 3 men got out. Having snatched the money, the 3 men ran down Islington Row and turned left into Tennant Street, where a second car, an Opel Manta, was waiting for them. Then they drove off into the afternoon traffic.
Well, Detective Chief Inspector John Ashby is involved in this investigation. Now, we do know that the reconstruction of the actual robbery there is absolutely precise and exact.
Very accurate, very accurate. In fact, the security guard which we saw on the reconstruction was the actual Securicor employee who was subject of this attack on the 24th of February.
So we can be certain that there were 3 attackers who physically attacked the 2 guards?
Yes.
It seemed from the reconstruction that the positioning, the actual attack took place on a corner. The attackers couldn't have seen the Securicor men until they reached that corner, yet they met them right at that point, took them totally by surprise. Could it be that there was a 4th man hanging about?
Yes, indeed. There's every possibility that there was a 4th person who indicated to the 3 attackers the exact time to attack the unfortunate security men.
So anyone who saw anything in that area, out and above the 3 men who were seen running away, perhaps that might be of value to you. At the same time, though, the most important clue is just coming up, which is the getaway vehicle, a very, very distinctive car.
Yes.
An Opel Manta, there it is. Actually, this is the wrong colour.
Yes. In fact, this Opel Manta, the one used in the attack, was green in colour, not yellow, as shown on the screen. It's an unusual car. In fact, we tried to obtain a green Opel Manta of this year. We couldn't do so, so there can be very few of them about. In addition to that, the particular car used in the attack had very noticeable damage to the front driver's door and to the front near side or offside wing, sorry. So it's a very noticeable car.
Very distinctive car, so people must have seen it sitting there waiting before the attack took place.
Yes.
And also, no doubt, you'd like to know the history of the car.
We're interested to hear from anyone who's owned such a car as this, particularly a green one of this nature, prior to the 24th of February. And, of course, we're also very interested to know where that car is now.
I'm sure you are. And in fact, there is an up to £5,000 reward being offered for the arrest and conviction of the guilty parties in there. Yes. Well, thanks very much indeed, Mr. Ashby. Now, here's our number if you think you can help with this case. If you'd rather talk to the detectives in Birmingham, though, they're on 021 for Birmingham, 236 5000, and ask for Digbeth CID. That's 021 236 5000.
Well, now it's high time we went over to our two police presenters who will be appealing direct to you for information about tonight's unsolved cases. Here now are Superintendent John Kavanagh and WPC Sue Milner.
Sometime between 10 and 11 o'clock on the evening of Saturday the 13th of December last year, a young woman was asleep in the house she shares in Trafalgar Road. That's in the Erdington district of Birmingham. Her flatmate was at work, so she was alone. She woke to find a man in her room. He threatened her with a knife and raped her. He'd broken into the house using this crowbar. It's not the sort of tool generally used by burglars. It's too big. It's about 4 feet long and thought to be the kind used to lift paving slabs. Here's an artist's impression of the rapist. He's about 5'8" of medium build and possibly in his 30s or younger. He has collar-length, dark, untidy hair and a full beard and moustache. He was wearing dark clothing and he had a Birmingham accent. He could well live locally or have lived in the area in the past. He must have been watching the house to know the movements of the girls who lived there. The artist's impression fits the description of a man who committed another rape in the same area. He approached a young woman who was walking from Erdington High Street down Church Road. He threatened her with a 10-inch knife and forced her into this alleyway off Trafalgar Road and raped her. It was 2 years earlier to the day and at the same time in the evening. If you recognise him, please call us. He's likely to attack again.
Our next case involves 3 aggravated burglaries on the night of Saturday, the 24th of January, at the houses in the Foles Hill area of Coventry. The third of them was particularly unpleasant, but all 3 are causing us great concern.
All were elderly people. One was 85, one was 82. All attacks were by breaking the rear windows of the houses. They then gained entry to the houses and on each occasion was disturbed by the occupants. On the third occasion, where Mr. William Lowe was asleep in his bed, they attacked him viciously and beat him about the head with a torch, causing very severe injuries to his head. And for some time, we thought he may lose the sight of his eye. When they were being disturbed by the neighbours, the one youth said to the other, hit him one more time, even though they realised they were going to get no money. The description, because of the age of the people involved, is fairly vague. It's 14 to 20 years, 2 white males, one possibly with a speech impediment and slim build. But again, because of the age of the people involved, it's fairly vague. Your right eye, was it?
Mr. Lowe is 81, and it's amazing that he survived such a vicious attack.
You're still going down to the same post office to get your pension?
Yeah.
You haven't seen anybody down there, you think?
No, not much. No.
After the attack on Mr. Lowe, there's no doubt whatsoever they'll be covered with blood. The whole room, the bedroom, the windows was all covered with blood, as they would be. Someone must know that they had blood on their clothing that evening.
Remember, it was Saturday, the 24th of January. Can you help? The attack on Mr. Lowe was savage, and we're concerned that if these 2 strike again, they could very well kill.
In July last year, a driver's licence in the name of Richard Henry Bishop, an access card and a NatWest banker's card was stolen from a car in Evesham. Since then, goods to the value of around £7,000 have been obtained at stores throughout the Midlands using these cards. The goods range from children's clothing to computer hardware. And on the 10th of September, a man attempted to buy petrol at a Redditch garage using one of the cards. While the card was being checked, he made an excuse and drove off in a deregistered gold-coloured Volvo 740 estate, believed to be one stolen the previous month in Oswestry.
That car is still missing. We have an artist's impression of the man West Mercia Police would like to talk to. He's white, between 25 and 30, and about 6 feet tall. He has an athletic build, collar-length dark wavy hair, and is clean-shaven. He wears square-framed glasses and is well-spoken. He's usually dressed in a blue suit with a white shirt and tie. There's a reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction. Look out for him, and if you recognise him, do please give us a ring.
Well, now it's just after 17 minutes past 8. I'm pleased to say that the detectives here are already receiving a steady stream of calls. So please don't hesitate to give us a ring if you think you may know anything that just might help with tonight's cases. Here again is the number 021 432 5432. Now let's go over to Kathy for tonight's selection of property.
Well, this month, clothes dominate our property spot, and that's not surprising because there's been a big increase in thefts of clothing. We start with this expensive selection. Now, a vast collection of men and women's clothes made by Sabre of London was stolen from a shop in the Promenade in the centre of Cheltenham. It's one of 5 new shops housed in a refurbished building, which used to be the old post office. Sabre specialise in high-quality knitwear and leisure wear. It opened for the first time a few weeks ago. The units on either side are still empty. The thieves broke in through one of the empty shops. They went through a manhole into the service area beneath and tunnelled through a breeze block into the shop. In all, they stole £18,000 worth of clothes. Well, they're all in this season's styles and colours, and although the thieves will have cut out the labels, these are unique. They have a second label, usually hidden in a most unusual place, like here behind the buttons. So, if you notice distinctive clothing like this, perhaps on a market stall, please do get in touch with Gloucestershire Police. This is a British Telecom loudspeaker type telephone with a built-in calculator and a memory. It's the sort which is very popular with businessmen and women because you can program it to call up to 40 numbers. Well, it was recovered from the home of a professional receiver of stolen goods in Great Bar in Birmingham, and it's thought it was stolen from an office or a factory in the West Bromwich, Dudley or Wednesbury areas. Well, this is based on the fact that there are Dr. McAndrews in Cradley Heath and West Bromwich. Now, do any of the other names or the handwriting mean anything to you? For example, there's a D. Howell and a T. Howell. Well, they could be brothers. Well, the numbers are the only clue that the police have to finding the owner. A big collection of enamel lapel badges like these, featuring vintage sports cars, was stolen from a factory in Hockley in Birmingham's jewellery quarter. Now, the interesting thing here is that they were made exclusively for the London market. They've never been sold in the Midlands. So if you know anything about them, you might like to know that the owner is offering a reward. The weapons, along with 9 rounds of ammunition and special clothing for shooting, were in protective bags when the car was broken into. Well, the rifle is the same as those used by the Olympic shooting team. It's about 4 feet long and it's very heavy indeed. It weighs 17.5 pounds. Each gun has an exclusive serial number on the barrel, and we have the numbers of the stolen guns. They're 225870 and 183114. This is a Section 1 firearm, and its use is extremely restricted by law, and obviously the police are most anxious to trace the 2 stolen ones. Now we're going back to clothes, and this time it's children's clothes. And a collection of clothes like this, worth £4,000, was stolen from a small factory at Woolstanton near Stoke-on-Trent. Now, the styles are exclusive to that firm. Each of them has a label saying Bee's Knees, and again, it could be that the thieves have got rid of these labels, so the thing to remember is that they're exclusive styles. And talking about exclusive styles, here's another one. This child's tracksuit. £25,000 worth of children's clothes like this were stolen from another factory at Kirkby and Ashfield in Nottinghamshire. Well, they were made solely for Marks and Spencer, and each has the St. Michael label. But most significant is this FF emblem. It's next season's design. It hasn't been in the shops yet, so if you see a child sporting one of these, you know for sure that it's been stolen. Now, Peter.
Thanks, Kathy. Well, now we come to the point of the programme where we go over to one of our BBC Midlands local radio stations. This month, Richard Phillips reports from Radio Nottingham on an especially poignant anniversary.
We're here because it's exactly a year since the body of 10-year-old Sarah Harper was found in the River Trent at Wilford, just down the road from here. She disappeared 3 weeks earlier from her hometown of Leeds. Now, in a moment, I'll be speaking to Detective Superintendent Ron Turner, who's dealing with the Nottinghamshire end of the murder hunt. But first, let's remind ourselves of what happened. On the 26th of March last year, at about 7:30 in the evening, Sarah Harper went out to buy a loaf of bread for her mother from the corner shop. She left the shop and disappeared.
I just feel so guilty for sending her out. But she'd been so many times. You just don't think his house is all the way up. I just want her back.
The following day, one of the biggest police hunts in Britain was launched. Hundreds of detectives and volunteers took part. Police talked to children from Sarah's school. Over the next few weeks, the search widened.
What about the rest of Britain? I mean, it's very close to the motorway network. She could be miles away.
Of course it is, and I agree with you entirely. She could well be miles away.
His worst fears were confirmed when, on the 19th of April, a man walking his dog along the River Trent in Wilford discovered Sarah's partially clothed body floating in the river. She'd been sexually assaulted and strangled. The discovery ended 3 agonising weeks of waiting for Sarah's mother.
It didn't come as a relief at all. I hope they catch him soon, before he can hurt anybody else.
A year on, and 15,000 suspects have been questioned, but vital witnesses have still not come forward.
I'm particularly anxious to trace the occupants of 2 vehicles that were seen at the River Soar on the A453 near to Ratcliffe-on-Soar on the evening in question. Those 2 vehicles, the first one was a red Mark II Escort, and we feel in relation to that it was occupied possibly by a courting couple. Certainly the windows were steamed up heavily, and from our inquiries we believe it may have been there on other occasions. The second vehicle is a light blue or grey vehicle, which we believe was metallic, possibly a Sierra or a Cavalier. And seen with that vehicle, very close to the water's edge, was a man who is described as 40 to 50 years, 5 feet 10 inches tall, a heavy build, described by the witness as about 16 stone. Now this man was wearing a light jacket, a collar and a tie. No overcoat, no raincoat, and at the time it was raining heavily. I think there's little doubt that our offender would have arrived home more than likely wet. It was raining both in Morley, in Yorkshire and in Nottinghamshire very heavily that night, and I'm sure that he will be wet. He may well be dirty. He may have gone home rather late. He may have had to make an excuse for being late. He may have discarded his clothing since. He may have failed to go to work the following day, and it may well be from that sort of information someone may recall that sort of situation, and it's to those people I would ask them to contact us. I still feel, as I have from day one of this inquiry, that someone somewhere knows the identity of this offender. And it may well be out of a very, very misconceived sense of loyalty that they are shielding that person.
Detective Superintendent Ron Turner. Now, in cases like this, it's especially important for us to stress to you that all your calls are treated in the strictest confidence. So if you think you may just know something that could help this murder hunt, here's our number again. 021 432 5432. And the number for detectives in Nottingham is 0602 420 999. 0602 420 999.
Now, let's go back to John and Sue, who've got some faces for you to look at. And don't forget, if you think you recognise any of them, do please give us a ring.
At 2:30 on Wednesday the 25th of February, a man walked into the Bradford and Bingley Building Society, here in St Peter Street, Derby. He went up to the counter. In the right-hand pocket of his coat was what appeared to be a bulky object. He threatened the staff, saying he was armed, and they handed over a considerable sum of money. He's white, about 35 and 5 feet 9. He was of medium build, with collar-length dark hair and a swarthy complexion. He was unshaven and wore glasses with dark square rims and a plaid flat cap.
Compare this with a photo fit compiled after a robbery in Leicester. Again, he's between 30 and 40 and 5 feet 6. He's wearing a flat cap, but it's grey this time. Another witness gave a similar description, but without mentioning spectacles. This man went into the Newcastle Building Society in Charles Street, Leicester, at 2:20 on Tuesday, the 17th of February. He obtained money by threatening the staff in the same way.
And Leicester police are also looking for a man who stole £2,000 from a building society in the city on the 12th of March at about 3:45. It was here, at the Leeds Permanent, in the marketplace. He forced staff to lie on the floor and made one cashier empty the tills. Here he is. He was carrying a pistol and wearing a ski mask. He wore a blue anorak he bought earlier that day. He took the mask off before leaving the premises.
He's white, in his early 20s, between 5 feet 8 and 5 feet 10, slim, clean-shaven with dark sandy hair in a crew-cut style which was growing out. If you know anything about any of our featured cases on tonight's programme, please do give us a ring.
Well, I'm glad to say a lot of people are giving us a ring. Our detectives are busy taking your calls, but it's still not too late if you think you can help with any of tonight's cases. Remember, the £15,000 robbery in Birmingham carries a big reward for information leading to convictions. And the opal manta used in that case has already produced a lot of calls, I'm very pleased to say.
And some viewers have asked to see again the credit card cheat being hunted by police in Worcestershire. And traders beware, this man has already got away with £7,000 worth of goods. And another caller has asked for a further look at this telephone. Now, do you recognise any of the names or numbers on the jotter pad? If you can identify any of them, please do pick up your phone and give us a ring.
And of course, we'd be especially pleased to see a breakthrough in that particularly vicious attack on Mohammed Aslam, the Nottingham taxi driver who was knifed 8 times before being robbed of just £15. Well, here again is Detective Sergeant Gary Brothwell. Detective Sergeant, have we had any calls on this? Any new leads?
Yes, there's been some calls in, and all calls are of interest to us and will be followed up.
Now, I did say when we were talking earlier, at the end there, that it really was a particularly vicious attack, and it may easily have been a murder inquiry that we now had.
That's correct. Mr. Aslam is a member of the community in Radford, and it was a horrific attack, and he was in fear of his life, and we're looking to that community to help us to find these offenders before they commit a similar offence in which the result may well be death, unless we do catch them.
I mean, the two chaps in our reconstruction, we have them saying one came from Manchester, one came from Brixton. You're not convinced that that is the case? You think it's a local man?
Well, we can't put any store in that because we don't know what was in their minds at the time. It may be relevant, and if anybody knows who these offenders are, it might be a clue to their identity. Then call us. That's all I ask of you.
Detective Sergeant, thank you very much. And there's the point about it there. Please, prick your conscience, phone. Well, that's about it for another month. Final reminder of our number again, 021 432 5432. And the lines will remain open for another hour. And if you'd rather write, here's our address, Crimewatch Midlands, BBC Television, Pebble Mill, Birmingham, B5 7QQ.
And as usual, we'll be bringing you a progress report on the calls we've received from tonight's cases on Crimewatch Midlands Update during Midlands Today, which starts at 6:35 on BBC One on Monday. And don't forget, our sister programme Crimewatch UK will be back in 3 weeks' time on Thursday, the 23rd of April.
Now let's face it, the cases we've been showing you tonight prove just how antisocial the modern criminal can be. We know from opinion surveys that crime is one of the main issues of public concern in the Midlands, and that's entirely understandable. But remember, the unsolved cases you see each month on Crimewatch Midlands are very much the exception rather than the rule. There's a good deal all of us can do to deter the criminal and even stop him in his tracks altogether. And the more we all team together to help the police, the better equipped they will be to catch the crooks. So join forces with us again when we return on Friday, the 8th of May. Until then, from all of us on the Crimewatch Midlands team, good night.
Good night.